Today's episode is for you if January didn't go the way you thought it would. If you started the year with motivation and good intentions, and then life happened. If you got sick, if your schedule fell apart, if you missed classes you meant to take, if your consistency didn't look the way you imagined it would. I want you to pause and take a breath with me, because this episode is here to remind you of something important. You didn't miss your moment. I think January carries a lot of pressure, especially for adult dancers. There's this unspoken expectation that we're supposed to come out of the gate sprinting, motivated, disciplined, focused, back in the studio, strong and committed, like we never skipped a beat. And I felt that too. I started the year with so much energy and excitement, and then I got sick for nearly 2 weeks. And suddenly, all that momentum I thought I had, gone. And I noticed something interesting. The hardest part wasn't missing class. It wasn't even losing strength or flexibility. The hardest part was the story my brain started telling me about what that meant, that I was behind, that I had messed up my restart, that I should be further along by now. And if you felt that too, I want you to know you're not alone. This is such a common experience for adult dancers. Before we go any further, I want to zoom out for a second, because this feeling doesn't come out of nowhere. We put a lot of emphasis on starting strong. Culturally, we love the idea of fresh starts, new years, new goals, new routines, and I love it too. But without realizing it, we start to associate momentum with character. If I'm motivated, I'm doing well. If I'm consistent, I'm disciplined. If I fall off, I must be doing something wrong. But here's the truth. Momentum is not a moral achievement, and losing it isn't a moral failing. From a neuroscience perspective, this actually makes a lot of sense. Our brains are wired to love novelty. That initial burst of motivation we feel at the beginning of a new year is driven largely by dopamine, a chemical that spikes when something feels new and exciting. But dopamine isn't meant to stay elevated forever. It naturally levels out. So when motivation fades, that doesn't mean you failed. It means your nervous system is doing exactly what it's designed to do. That's why relying on motivation alone is such a fragile strategy. So I want to say a few things really clearly, and I want you to hear them without judgment. Losing momentum does not mean you're lazy. Struggling to stay consistent doesn't mean you lack discipline. Needing to restart doesn't mean you did something wrong. As adult dancers, we're often incredibly good at turning normal human experiences into personal shortcomings. We forget that we're not machines. We don't reset perfectly on January 1st. We don't progress in straight, uninterrupted lines. Life has seasons, bodies have seasons, energy has seasons. And none of that disqualifies you from a ballet journey that is serious, meaningful, and fulfilling. Your body doesn't forget everything because you took a break. Learning research shows us that once movement patterns are learned, they don't disappear. You're not starting from zero. You're returning. Your artistry doesn't vanish because you had a slow month. Your love for dance doesn't expire. You didn't miss your moment because your moment is not a single point in time. It's something you return to again and again, every time you step back into class. Every time you choose to keep going, every time you give yourself grace instead of quitting. Once we release the fear of having missed our chance, it opens the door to a much more helpful question. How do we actually move forward when our fresh start isn't what we wanted it to be? One of the most important mindset shifts for adult dancers is this: consistency matters more than intensity. And this isn't just a comforting idea. It's backed by research on habit formation and skill acquisition. Our brains learn best through repetition. Small, repeatable actions create stronger and more durable neural pathways than big, occasional efforts. In other words, your brain learns through frequency, not force. Not the kind of consistency that looks perfect on paper, but the kind that's sustainable. Sometimes consistency looks like this: 1 class instead of 3, a shorter warm-up instead of none, marking instead of going full out, choosing to rest so you can return stronger. For busy adults, this matters a lot because overwhelm is one of the fastest ways to derail consistency. When ballet starts to feel like another area where we're failing, our nervous system responds by pulling back. That's not laziness, that's protection. Small, doable practices keep ballet feeling safe, not like another source of pressure. I know this has been especially true for me with point work. If I tell myself I need 45 minutes, or nothing at all, it rarely gets done. But when I commit to just 10 focused minutes, a few relevés, some articulation through the feet, maybe one short combination, it always amazes me how much progress I can make. And more importantly, how much easier it is to come back to the next day. That's how consistency compounds. Adult ballet is a long game. It's not about quick turnarounds or dramatic transformations. It's about staying in relationship with the art form, coming back again and again. Sometimes our relationship with ballet is passionate and consistent, and sometimes it's quieter, more gentle. Both still count. If you're still thinking about ballet, if you still feel pulled towards the studio, if you're listening to this podcast, that says something. You care. And caring is more than motivation. It's commitment. It's the thing that brings you back even when things feel slow, awkward, or imperfect. Thank you so much to Frenchie's Hairpins for sponsoring today's episode. I love partnering with brands that I swear by, and Frenchie's has been my go-to hairpin for years. What makes them unique is their no-slip velvet coating, and they really are the only pins that can hold my long, thick hair in a ballet bun or French twist. And I mean actually hold. I've truly put these pins to the test at ballet classes and intensives, dancing all day, sweating, jumping, turning, and my hair does not move. The velvet is soft to the touch and doesn't scratch, so they're gentler on your scalp than traditional pins. And major bonus, they come in color matching shades, so they disappear into your hair. If your ballet bun is constantly betraying you, Frenchie's just might change your life. Use code AFTERCLASS10 for 10% off your order. All the details are linked in the show notes. Once you try them, I promise you'll never go back. One of the biggest shifts that comes with trusting the long game is letting go of the timelines we didn't realize we were holding on to. A lot of the pressure adult dancers feel comes from imaginary timelines. I should be back on point by now. I should feel stronger by now. I should be further along. But whose timeline is that? Who decided what on time looks like for an adult dancer? Most of those expectations come from systems that were never designed for adult bodies or adult schedules. Children train differently. They recover differently. They don't carry the same physical or mental load. Adult bodies adapt, but they adapt differently. Tendons, ligaments, and bones respond best to gradual, consistent loading, not urgency and not pressure. Your nervous system also needs a sense of safety to allow balance, coordination, and artistry to emerge. Deadlines and pressure don't create safety. Patience does. When you release the timeline in your mind, you make room for progress that actually lasts. And when the timeline loosens its grip, what's left isn't pressure, it's choice. So instead of making a big promise to yourself, I want to invite you into something better. A recommitment, not to perfection, but to presence. To returning when it feels awkward, to choosing ballet again even when the circumstances aren't perfect. To just keep showing up in the ways that you can. That's more than enough. As we close today, I hope you carry this with you. You didn't miss your moment. You didn't fall behind this January. You didn't mess anything up. You are allowed to reset and restart. Gently, honestly, and as many times as you need. And I'll be here cheering you on. Thank you so much for listening. If this episode was helpful or encouraging, I'd love for you to share it with a friend or leave a quick review. It's one of the best ways to help more adult dancers find this podcast and feel a little less alone in their ballet journey. All the links and resources mentioned today are waiting for you in the show notes. I'll meet you back here next week after class. Podcast produced by Mission Bridge Media.